welcome to Squid Pro Quo, a Squid Game podcast where there are only 3 rules. 1, a player is not allowed to stop podcasting. 2, a player who refuses to podcast will be eliminated. And 3, the podcast will be terminated if the majority agrees. I'm Sean.
And I'm Mike, and that's an air horn noise because it's episode 3.
It is episode 3. I counted this time as I said them.
Ah, hell yeah. I could feel it.
And I'm so excited to be sitting here discussing a brand new episode of Squid Game: The Challenge. Wait, this isn't the reality show?
No, this isn't the reality show.
Are you sure?
It's not. But I'm excited to be sitting here discussing a brand new episode of David Fincher's American Squid Game.
I mean, we're gonna have to cover it eventually.
We're gonna have to. That's a thing. And hold on. I have the tweet here. Hold on. Oh, it went away. There it is. Hwang Dong-hyuk, the creator of Squid Game, confirms that David Fincher is developing an English-language Squid Game remake set in America. And his quote is, "I know Netflix has a plan. They are not going to throw this idea away." Has there been, Sean, in your knowledge, has there been a more successful person who just absolutely hates what he's doing?
I mean, I feel like Harrison Ford comes to mind.
That's who I thought of too, is Harrison Ford, who just, after age 50, just decided he hated everything he was doing.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I respect.
Yeah, I mean, I got there at 37, so, I hate this show.
Props for getting that far along. I mean, how old was he when they made Return of the Jedi? He was fucking done then. He wanted to get killed off then.
That's true. Is there anybody else, though? Harrison Ford definitely came to mind. Maybe the square guard in this episode. He seems fucking done.
Yeah. This is a very strange. This is such a strange pull. The yellow Dino Thunder Power Ranger really, really hates that she's pretty much only known for having been the yellow Dino Thunder Power Ranger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you just reminded me of another one that actually links to our other podcast. What is this? A crossover episode of BoJack Horseman podcast, and that is the band Magic hates the song "Rude."
Oh.
But it is their only popular song, and it was on the charts when season 1 of BoJack released. It was consistently, we do that bit where what happened on this day. I think it was season 1. It was on the American charts.
I couldn't tell you. I'm going to just start speculating wildly. Do you think maybe there's a little part of Donald Glover that the fact that whenever anybody talks to him, they bring up Community, he's like, I've done a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like he gets that, and he gets, "Why aren't you Miles Morales?" And he's like, "I'm like 45. I can't be Miles Morales."
He's like, "When I was like 20, I wanted to be Miles Morales."
Right. And even then, that's too old to be Miles Morales, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope that Hwang gets to do what he wants to do. I mean, honestly, the Gihan's kind of like a proxy for him here. Because Gihan has all this money that he wants none of.
Oh,
and he has to keep doing this thing, for revenge that he doesn't want to do.
In that scenario, would that be our good boy, the creator of this show? Would that be him coming back to just intentionally sabotage a season 2? Is that revenge?
See, I think that's off the table. I maybe thought that in season 1 or in episode 1.
Okay.
Like we were
kind
of.
I'm not saying I'm down on what's been happening. I'm just trying to follow through, on this thought process. I've really enjoyed episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah, I think episode 1's not bad, but we could see it going in a direction where we were like, is he trying to sabotage this? But and from everything I've read, people have been pretty positive on this season as a whole. I mean, we're only on episode 3, but
good.
I've seen a lot of positivity. I haven't seen any negativity, but I haven't also been looking for it either because I'm trying not to get spoiled, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully he gets to do what he wants to do. But what we want to do is cover episode 3 of season 2 of Squid Game, titled 001.
Which really great title after the ending.
Yes.
Man, and we're back to your favorite part.
Wait, my favorite part.
Yeah, we're back at the games.
Well, not yet, Sean. Not yet, because actually,
oh, I guess technically the episode does not start at.
We start this episode on the docks.
That's true.
And Plan B, as they reveal, was to sneak onto the island using the tracker that is in Gihan's tooth.
Was there a second where you thought this was going to work?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, after your reveal season 1 that you thought the ship captain was sus, I'm looking at him in a whole different light. Because he does some stuff where he asks some questions and it kind of makes some faces, and it's like, oh, this motherfucker, he's a fucking plant.
Yeah, people seem to know things, I definitely am like, okay, they brought this guy back, he's important.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, if he turns out to, be a plant, don't be surprised.
Yeah, I will not be surprised.
He's sus the whole episode too. He's absolutely sus the whole episode.
Yeah. You know who else is sus the whole episode?
Who?
When we go into the dorms here, Gihan wakes up. Why does the show always have an insane lady in the games?
Yeah, there's always a crazy one. See, the difference is, though, in the first season, I don't remember her name, but that lady was just straight up crazy.
Yeah.
This woman, there's an air of competency to her.
Yes.
That other woman did not possess. She knows something. I mean, she's acting like some kind of palm reader here and like talking about fate.
Yeah, this might be a strange thing to say. I think she might be God.
Oh.
I think this show's going to get very strange. There's just something about her demeanor throughout the whole episode. I think that maybe Gihan has just found himself like God has made an avatar to come down for the games. I don't know.
Huh.
I'm just throwing that out there. Tell me what you think.
She's the ghost of Il Nam.
Ooh, is he God then?
No, my theory's different.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, I think she's definitely God.
So she says some like really cryptic shit to him, and then the guards come in, beep 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 beep, and they ask a lot of the typical questions that were asked in the previous season.
I want to note something about the guards as well, though, and you've watched season 1 more recently than I have, or at least episodes of it. Is it just me, or are the masks way more transparent?
The masks are way more transparent. I make a note of it later because they show a lot of close-ups of the guards, almost to say like, "Hey, you should know them."
I really like that now that we have a guard character and not just somebody pretending to be a guard. It's like, okay, now they're people.
Well, I thought at first that maybe the main guard was our homeless gal, but he has a man's voice.
Yeah.
So I threw that away real quick.
Which, I mean, could be a voice changer.
True. I wrote, the fucking square guard has fucking had it with these people.
Yeah.
He is like already just so annoyed with them.
Yeah.
And I write this later. I want to see where I wrote it in my notes. Okay, so to me, this cast of characters, contestants in the game, seem overall a bit younger.
Yep.
Than
absolutely.
the previous. And is this an allegory of some kind or a metaphor of some kind on how the creator hates Zoomers?
I mean, Zoomers are like what made the first season so popular, right? Maybe this is like a catharsis of him being like, I'm going to put all you fuckers in the game.
Because almost everybody we meet is some form of just diabolically incompetent idiot Zoomers.
You know what I think? I think it's unfortunately like a few bad eggs that are so bad. Because it's really Lorenzo and Crypto Guy who are
Lorenzo,
just
crypto guy. There's the what I can only describe as the hot girl.
yeah. Well, we don't have to worry about her anymore.
Well, we'll get to that. There's the son of the mother and son combo. He's also kind of fits into that mold.
Yeah, I think
there's
he's
a lot of
better
people
though. I think he's a lot better than Crypto Guy or Lorenzo. I also fucking love that we just jumped straight into calling him Lorenzo.
Yeah, I guess we should probably preference that, especially if you didn't listen to the reality show coverage we did.
Yeah.
Lorenzo is not a character. He's a person. He's a real person.
I don't know.
In the reality show,
he might be a character
who was just unhinged in the show, and we called him the Joker a lot.
Yeah. Because he was acting like the Joker.
Yeah, he was acting quite unhinged.
I want to make it very clear. Totally deserved.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Thanos, which is a crazy name for a rapper,
Dude,
who we meet.
He has a line later on where he has like a sample of his rap where he says, "I'm gonna kill half of humanity with my raps, bam."
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't he say he doesn't even need to snap? I think that's one of the lines too.
He might have.
Yeah. So anyway, we're jumping all over the place here, but we get to meet this cast of characters during this.
Yeah.
I have there's the YouTuber guy who's the crypto guy, and I wrote, "Yo, he's the Hawk Tua girl," because it rings. And I know other people have had crypto scams, but with that being like in the news right now, it's like a parallel
prescient
story to the Hawk Tua girl, right?
Yeah.
You
know what?
There's the old. No, go ahead.
Actually, what's interesting about this, now that I'm thinking about it, while we're talking about these characters, is this episode spent a lot of time with the new cast members that were not established in the previous two episodes, because there's the pregnant girl and her ex. Yeah. Right. They both got cards to go to the game.
I couldn't even tell you where the X is. The pregnant girl, they make a point of during red light, green light, showing her holding her stomach because she's in pain.
Yeah.
The X, I couldn't tell you which guy that is.
Yeah,
I think he's wearing a hat when we see him in episode 1. Like I couldn't tell you what number he is.
And then we don't see really we see him, but very briefly. We don't spend time with him, the father of the girl with the blood cancer. So like we get these introductions to these characters in the last two episodes, and then this episode really they're in the background of the game while we focus on these new people.
We also meet the older guy who owes 10 billion won.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which he like, hey, you, I'm a higher class individual than you are, and that's why, he like gets the whole thing going. I've noticed they really are hammering home calling these people trash.
Yes.
I don't know that happened in season 1. I don't
know.
I don't feel like that the front man calls and the handsome man both have referred to Gihan as trash and that he thinks he's better than the other trash. And then the guard calls them all trash.
I feel like everybody is really just losing their patience with the situation.
They seem very over it, which I think is funny. Like it's almost like the writer of the show was like, I'm over this as well. We cut back to the boat where they decide to start going faster. That's really the only part. They're following the tracker and they go, hey, head towards that island, and they decide to go faster. That's really the only. It's just to kind of break up the monotony of the introduction scenes here. Yeah. We get the piggy bank.
Yeah. I wanted to point out on the walls, last season we had the games were on the walls, right? Mm-hmm. I was looking at the walls. It looked like either there was pictures of people either falling, or I thought maybe like doing on monkey bars.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look I didn't pay that close attention.
But I was looking at that.
So they reveal the piggy bank. They ask like, "Hey, how much money do we win if we win?" And he tells them, but they do pull out a new wrinkle, which is at any time if people vote the majority to stop the games, whatever money has been won, those people will split.
Yeah,
which is new.
Yeah, that's new.
And they ask, how do you decide how much money we get? And he goes, we can't really talk about that right now. We'll talk about it later. Because that would reveal that people die, obviously.
Yeah. But
what do you think of, oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Sorry. You go.
I was just going to say, what do you think of Gihan's silence here? Because he decides not to tell people that he was in the games here and that they're going to die.
He clearly was hoping they weren't going to get to the first game.
Because he was thinking his guys were going to come in.
Yeah, he thought his guys were going to show up. Because we see the moment when he decides to speak, and it's when he realizes nobody's coming.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. You're right. I thought the silence was weird, but you're right. That makes logical sense.
I thought the silence was weird as well until we got to the scene of him realizing that nobody was coming, and then that kind of recontextualized how he was acting. One of the things I thought was interesting was the change to after every game you'll get the chance to vote if you want to. And I actually think it's because I was thinking about it, and at first I was like, is that like a nicer thing? Right? But it's almost, as I was thinking about it, almost more insidious. Because it gives you the one more roll of the dice.
Yeah, it's almost like gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a more direct, gambling analogy. I could just one more. I can vote out after the next game, but I could just do one more,
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
We also, at this point, meet the mother and son, and I wrote,
yes.
LMAO, mother and son in the games, brother absolutely watched the reality show.
Yeah, I mean, them, Lorenzo, it was watched.
Yeah. He's there because he has a gambling problem, and his mom is there to help him repay his debt, and she didn't know he'd be there, and vice versa.
Yes.
We signed the consent forms at this point, and there's a scene between player 333 and player 230, and 333 is the Dalmatian coin guy.
Yeah.
Who was going to the moon, and 230 is Thanos the rapper, who lost a lot of money apparently, and we don't find out that he's a famous rapper here for some reason
until later on. Yeah,
until picture time. Gihan signs a consent form, and it's funny. When he walks up, he kind of looks at it, and one of the guards, almost tipping their hand at like, "Hey, we know who you are," goes, "If you do not want to play, now is the time to say so."
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if that's also part of why they're a little on edge, is they're like, this fucking guy's back. When it came to the confrontation that Thanos the rapper gave with Crypto Bro, I just can you imagine if you're in the Squid Games and I just walk up and I'm like, Mr. SpikeGhetti, your content ruined my life. I listen to the Answer Report podcast every single day. It just fucking ruined my life. That'd be crazy.
I think I'd say you're welcome.
I think that's great. I think that's the perfect attitude to have.
Yeah. So we go back to the boat, and the captain's asking a lot of questions. I wrote, back at boat, captain is concerned he's absolutely a mole. I'm convinced now.
Yeah.
Brother is in on it. And I expected some tomfoolery from his part here, but I don't think he actually does anything that's
I don't think so either.
Oh, the boat ran out of gas, or anything like that. He just kind of is asking questions.
Now here's a top shelf theory for you, and it's really not. It's a very basic theory. I'm gonna jump ahead, just because it's on my mind right now. Later on, we find out nobody's coming. They put the tracker in the bait for the fisherman. The guy said. This guy gave it to me, said it was leftover tackle. What if it's him?
Yeah.
What if he gave him the bait?
Well, because, he does mention that, hey, people really only use this island for fishing.
Yeah, and we know that he's a fisherman when he's not,
Yeah, no, that's Five Head. That's probably what's going on.
Right?
Nice call.
It just occurred to me. I have vision sometimes.
Yeah, you're like player number 44. You're God, actually.
Yeah, I am actually God manifest just to be on this podcast.
Yeah. Picture day, and this is where we get the proper introduction to Thanos the Rapper, and everybody wants to take a picture with him.
This actor is so good at being the most insufferable motherfucker I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's very annoying. He's very annoying. The guard stops them and is like, "Hey, this is illegal." And this is when I wrote, "Is this all an allegory for how annoying Zoomers are?"
I mean, it's definitely a part of it.
It absolutely is. Because they're all very annoying. Like, let's take a picture with them. Oh, we can't all take a picture at once. You know, like that kind of shit. We also get a very. I wrote, "Yikers, mom isn't very progressive." Because there's a trans woman and she doesn't understand why someone would want to do that.
I was a little concerned.
Yep.
When it was I was like, oh no. Like,
well, here's my theory.
Go?
Is this mom's gonna die, and when you have a character like a mother just be brutally murdered for some reason, you got to give a reason to not like her, and here we are.
And I like. On the other hand, my worries were also assuaged in this episode because I actually thought like the role they give to the trans woman in this episode is fucking awesome. Like,
oh, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. It immediately makes her one of the most likable characters in the cast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very Ali-esque, I would say.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later. Gihan doesn't smile in his picture, and I saw a meme that made me laugh really hard where it was his picture from the first game and it said 2017, and then his picture from the second game and it said 2024, and I said, yep, that's about right. That seems about right to me. And then, intriguingly, Jung Bae, our friend from season 1, is in the games, his horse racing buddy, who refused to lend him money when he was trying to get money for his mother.
Yeah.
And his wife, he was like, hey, don't smoke in front of my restaurant. That's rude, because she clearly doesn't like that he was friends with Gihan.
Yeah.
And he hasn't seen Gihan in like 3 years. And he's divorced now, and, you know, he's in bad on his luck, obviously, because he's here. And this gives Gihan pause where he's like, hey, man, like, pulls him aside. He goes, hey, no matter what happens, you need to stay behind me. And at this point, I still was questioning, why doesn't he tell him here? Like, I get not just exclaiming to everybody.
Yeah, this is
this guy. This is your buddy. You should probably tell him what's going on.
I don't think he would have believed him.
That's probably true.
But you're right. I agree. I do think this is really good, though. One of the things about this episode that, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about as we get into the game, is that this episode did a great job. I had concerns as it was starting of like, how are you going to make covering, I mean, what is essentially like tried and true ground already? Like the stuff that happens in this episode is not new, right? We've seen this kind of 3 times, right? You know, now this is kind of the 3rd time we've seen it. We've seen red light, green light in both the first season and the reality show.
4 times if you watch the Beast games.
I saw a tweet, by the way, that was just like the most engagement bait, like, please notice me, where he was like,
this is a crazy tangent, Ron.
I had a point to what I was saying before we got here. But the point was that the bringing back Gihan's friend for the games here is a really good job of upping the stakes on something that we've seen multiple times. And I really liked it the way that the episode throughout builds up, like, Gihan freaking the fuck out. Like, after going into this very calm, with plan, like, ready to fuck this shit up, and just over the course of the episode, we see him slowly lose control of the situation until, I mean, he has the moment right before red light, green light, where he literally thinks, I'm fucked. You know?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I mean, we're not there yet, but
yeah. When
he just goes, I'm fucked, and it's in his mind, oh my God, it's really good.
But this, I think, like, this is a part of that build up to that, and that continues past that moment into the rest of the episode. But I like this slow losing of control of the situation that he has.
Okay, I think I like your point there. So I think when I edit this, I'm going to cut out my rant and put it at the end of the episode.
I think it should be a post-credit scene.
Yeah, so if you guys want to hear a post-credit scene of me ranting, go to the post-credit. Go to the end of the episode.
It got weirdly topical at the end.
It got weirdly topical. So back to the island, they're embarking. And then Juno's like, hey, I'm going to handle the drone. You guys go guns blazing, you know? And it's I do like, though, that the next time they show them, he is not the one handling the drone. In fact, there's a drone guy.
Yeah.
But he acts like he's gonna be driving that drone, and he
I mean,
just
do you
is looking at
think
the camera.
he's telling them all that he's driving the drone?
I would. I'd
Yeah.
go, hey, I'm doing the drone.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
but hey, I'll slip you extra money if you don't tell them that I'm not doing the drone.
Hey, if you tell them that you did the drone, I'm gonna shoot you with this gun.
Yeah,
oh no, the guards attacked the boat and they got John.
Wow.
Oh no.
I definitely drove the drone the whole time. So it's red light, green light time, and Thanos. There's a girl that I can only describe as Pretty Girl,
Yes.
and
This is the second time you've made that joke.
I just don't know her name or her number.
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
tell you. I didn't know she had a number or name. She was very
196.
very attractive. He tries to rizz her up, and
Yeah, he tries to spit some bars, and it is painful.
I wrote that he has L Riz.
He does.
But it kind of works on her. I think because she seems pretty dumb.
Is this more commentary on Zoomers?
I think
guys
it
are
is.
attracted to the dumbest fucking shit.
I think it is. So I wrote, this is not going to go well for the team. I can only assume that means the team on the island. I thought that there was going to be some trap and they were all going to die.
Well, there's fucking like 3 of them assaulting this heavily fortified. Well, they think it's a heavily fortified position, right? Like, yeah, no, I absolutely was like, you guys are fucked.
Right. I wrote, this is all an incredibly stupid idea by Gihan. The chip was removed from his tooth. So he pulls that tooth out, that fake tooth out, and realizes there's no chip. And that's when he has the I'm fucked moment.
Why is this the moment where he goes, shit?
Well, he looks up at the open air because this has like a retractable roof.
Yeah, and he sees like
sees the birds, and he's like, man, they really. I think he probably is just like, man, they really should have been here by now.
Yeah. I wonder if the plan was for them to be up there or something.
Maybe. Because ideally, you'd walk on that island and you'd see that retractable and then dive in, right?
Yeah.
So he pulls the tooth out and there's no chip, and he starts crashing out in front of everybody.
Understandably.
No, for sure. Crashing out doesn't mean it's unjustified.
That's true. That's true.
So, and telling them, hey, they're going to shoot you if you move during red light, green light, like, don't panic. He's yelling all kinds of instructions to them and everybody's like, why should we believe you? And his friend, Jung Bae, is like, I don't know this guy. And everybody's like calling him names and making fun of him. And Thanos is like, my dad comes home drunk like this and says there's microchips in his head.
Yeah.
It's like, oh boy.
We don't have time to unpack all of that.
Yeah, exactly. So the games here begin. The front man sits down and has a little scotch.
Are we introduced to a new type of guard? Have we met Black Hoodie Guard before?
No, and Black Hoodie Guard's dripped out. I really like the black hoodie with the pink lining. Yeah, they didn't have that in the last season for sure. So that's new. So red light, green light starts off without any incident at first.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off very well, yeah. Yeah,
and Gihan is really overcoaching red light, green light, in my opinion.
I don't know. I feel like I would get it.
He's I think, if you don't know red light, green light, like, yeah, sure. But like, he's like, all right, don't move. All right, move. All right, don't move.
I guess that is true.
It's kind of like, hey, she's also saying these instructions, right? The robot. But he kind of stays back at first, and then he starts following, and then we have Pretty Girl, who I can only describe as hot girl.
Yeah.
Has a bee land on her neck, and fucking Thanos is like, yeah, you're just so sweet like a flower. He says some fucking corny ass shit.
Yeah.
And she, I don't remember, does she freaking grab the bee or?
Well, she just starts kind of like waving her hands around, and then she's like, oh my God, I just moved. And then a bullet tears through the back of her head.
That's right. And people don't react at first.
I don't think they really saw.
Right. and then they start to see what happens, and people start running just like in the first game and just getting leveled out.
But and I'll bring this up now as we're kind of talking about this. I did look this up because I was curious. Way less people die because of Gihan.
Yeah.
In this.
I have the numbers later.
Okay, cool.
So all hell breaks loose. I feel like Gihan's actually moving a lot.
Yeah, but he's got his mouth covered.
Right, I know, but he's like literally like moving.
But he's got his mouth covered.
Cover your mouth when you speak. But he's like moving his arm up and down in front of his mouth and shit. He's moving so much.
I mean, they can shake a little bit.
I don't know, man. I think he should have got murked. If I'm our new sniper friend, I'm shooting Gihan. Okay.
Well, they can't do it unless the robot tells them.
Well, and that's also I remember now one of the reasons I wrote this is a terrible plan by Gihan.
Yeah.
Earlier is because they could just kill him.
Oh yeah.
He's now that he's here in the games, he's hoping that they follow their own rules like the fucking handsome man, right? Like they don't have to. They can just kill him.
Yeah.
And no one would know the difference.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nobody would know the difference except for them.
Right. So, the front man starts his jazz diorama. He's got like a fucking like little like jazz thing. And we do find out I actually really enjoyed the behind the scenes of this because we find out Homegirl's one of the snipers.
Yeah. This answered a question we had back in season 1 where we were like, are there snipers up there? Is that like
is it automated?
Yeah.
But then I was like, in my head, I was like, how do they know which ones to shoot? And then shortly after that, they have headsets in and it goes, number 222. And then that's who they shoot. And I was like, oh, okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down with how this works.
Mm-hmm.
Around this time, Thanos pulls out a crucifix full of drugs.
Yeah.
And takes drugs? How did he get that in?
I just don't think they give a fuck.
But they went into Gihan's mouth and took a computer chip
I think
out?
maybe they found his drugs and just didn't care, and they just put them back. They didn't take them. And I bet Gihan got treated way differently than everybody else.
Oh, for sure.
Because they fucking know that guy is like... Do you think, like, whenever he sleeps at night, there's just going to be somebody with a fucking gun pointed at his head?
Dude. Yeah, absolutely, man. We see later that they start to treat him a little differently, too.
Yeah.
In the barracks. They at Gihan's suggestion, they start forming single file lines.
Which isn't a terrible idea.
No, it's not terrible, unless you're the person in front. Or if you're in line with fucking Thanos, because this is where I wrote Thanos is Lorenzo. He shoves a group of people.
Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Because he's just so fucking high, too. Like, I think they're implying that he's high as fuck, and also...
Well, yeah, and evil.
Brother starts skipping. This is his full transformation into, this Joker-style character. He is having the time of his life. A trap remix of "Fly Me to the Moon" starts playing.
It's a banger. It's a banger. I can't lie to you. It's really good. It's really good. I really liked the girl, the pregnant lady freaking out.
Yeah.
And I liked the mom, like, kind of redeeming her a little bit from earlier. The mom being like, just stay behind me. You know?
Yeah.
I love there's some really great shots during this where it's like Gihan and the doll facing off.
Yeah.
They do the split screen thing that I really liked them, them facing off kind of. Yeah.
So, 400, I wanted your opinion on this part because 444 moves because someone falls into him.
Yeah.
And the other sniper that we see decides, I'm going to shoot him in, like, the thigh/waist area.
Yeah.
He makes a deliberate choice to do this. Yeah. And then Gihan, who has already crossed the finish line, notices this.
Yeah.
Runs back out to help him, along with number 120, who is the trans woman we discussed from earlier. and they get him across the line, and then our homegirl sniper caps him, shoots him in the head.
Yeah.
And the other guy radios over, was that you? And she's like, hey, he had already lost,
Yeah.
Which, true. Yes, 100%. Why did he shoot him in the leg?
I mean, they did that in season 1 as well. They burned them alive afterwards.
They
didn't really care, like,
right, okay,
it's
sure.
sadistic as fuck that he did that, but they were gonna get rid of him either way.
Well, then why does he question her after, I guess?
I guess he was like, we'll just burn him alive. And he's like, oh, you finished the job? Oh, okay. I mean, we could just put him in the coffin and burned him.
Interesting. Okay.
Gihan going back is actually really great. Again, having just rewatched some reactions and stuff, he leaves somebody behind in Red Light, Green Light the first time.
Yeah, he does.
In season 1. There is somebody who gets shot in the leg like that and is on the ground and begs him to help, and Gihan leaves him, and this time he goes back. And I really like that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, he's definitely transformed from, like I said, kind of a shitbag in the beginning of this show to, a righteous person, a good person. So they shoot 444 anyway once he crosses the finish line. And we cut back to the boat where the captain.
And I just do want to call to the attention that we kind of alluded to this earlier, but Gihan is like almost not going to make it over the line again when he's helping the wounded person over, and the trans woman runs in and takes up the other side, and they together get him over. And that is the part where it's like, damn, immediately painting her as like a badass hero is really cool.
Right, agreed. And we also we talked about this like way earlier, but like we glossed over it right now, but the team on the island finds the fisherman and he has the chip in his bait. And so they end up back at the boat where the captain's like, hey, there's some bad weather coming, man. We should probably call it a day.
Yeah.
And Wu says, how did they know about the tracker? Did someone get drunk last night and blab on about it?
Yeah.
And they kind of look at him like, yeah, you did, but they don't say that.
I mean, I think the vibe is like, you think it was this like elite paramilitary group that you've hired that was the ones that would have done that.
Yeah. But he kind of has a look on his face like maybe he did something he shouldn't have done, and I guess we'll find out later. But
maybe.
Yeah. We're back in the barracks, and I have the numbers here. 91 died.
Yep.
And 365 made it through. So a lot. Gihan made a difference here because I want to say it was more than half that died in season 1.
I believe that the number that is on the wiki for season 1 is 255 people during Red Light, Green Light.
Yep. The mother and son immediately start getting on their knees and begging to let him go. It's a similar scene to season 1 where they're like, hey, we're not the people collecting your debts. You guys agreed to play a game. We're not here to punish you. This is what the game is. And Gihan immediately goes, hey, we can vote to leave.
Again, I'm really glad that I watched the reactions to season 1 again. He's playing the role of Song Woo. Song Woo is the one who points out, hey, we get to vote. So there's really great callbacks happening, in my opinion.
And this is where I noted there are a lot of close-ups on the square guard where you can see like flesh color in between the mask, which I don't think you could see, or they never showed us at least. But he goes, hey, we can do a vote, but before we do that, we're going to show you how much money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's almost 25 million won.
Yep.
And they discuss a lot of the implications of this, where some people are like, oh, like they're pretty convincing to these people that, hey, maybe we should stay and keep playing because we could win even more money. And we'll talk about more during the voting. They talk about it more, but the voting starts and Gihan is first because they're going reverse chronological order. And then as he's going to vote, number 44 is just sitting up at the top bunk and says some wild shit about fate.
Yeah.
You can't escape your fate.
God is here. God is watching.
So the voting is a very interesting scene because I noticed early on that they had these, they have their patch that says what number they are. And then there was like a blank patch section. And I was like, I wonder what that's for. And it's because they are labeling how the people vote.
Yep.
Which is very interesting. And then they're also going to stand on a giant symbol of how they voted.
Yep. And the lighting in this is really great of the red and the blue.
it's mostly even voting at first. Lorenzo sprints forward to vote
Yes.
like a psychopath.
Yes, evil.
And it's at this point Gihan jumps forward and starts to give a speech about how, you don't want to do this. Everybody's going to die if we do this. And he eventually, everybody's arguing with him, and he eventually says, I was here before. And he didn't want to do that, clearly.
Yes.
I was here before, and they put it together that he won, and it bites him in the ass.
Gihan makes a mistake here.
Yeah.
There is something, well, I mean, beyond the obvious one, but there's something he does not bring up that I was yelling at my screen. Bring up. If you leave, you can come back.
Yeah. Which, I guess we don't know that for sure.
But
right?
But his experience is that.
Right.
And I feel like that is something that he definitely should have been bringing up is, look, I left and I won. I left and I was given the chance to come back and win.
Right. I wrote something here that I don't want to get too into.
Okay.
Because that's not what what our podcast is about. But I wrote, okay. This is literally the American presidential election. And because there's a point where the people voting for yes are like, yeah, we could all survive together and win.
Yeah.
There will be no money added to the pot, you fucking idiots. You fucking dull idiots. They're literally saying, our egg prices are going to drop. Like, fucking absolute nincompoops. Voting for, and it made me think of this because, like, it's the old man really leading the charge on it. That was 10 billion won,
Yeah.
And I was just like,
the guy most in debt.
Yeah, the guy most in debt is like, yeah, we could all survive and take money. You would be in the same fucking spot if everybody survives.
Yeah.
The 6 death games. And you're in the same spot you're in now.
You don't pay off your debt.
So, anyway, they pull a gun on Gihan because he's definitely riling things up, and he goes, we will no longer allow things to interrupt the vote. Let the voting continue.
Yeah. Stop the polls.
Yeah, stop the count. So, they kind of fast forward to a few votes left, and it's tied. And it's tied going into the final vote of player number 1, and they purposely mask player number 1 here.
Yep, I was like, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be?
Right. In my head, I was like, who could this possibly be?
Yeah, I also was thinking that as well.
Great music as he approaches the voting. Yep. The music's super duper good. He votes to play, and then it's revealed that it is the front man himself.
And it's like also another great parallel, right? Of like, okay, he's playing like we had the old man play in season 1, but the old man gave them the choice to come back.
Yeah,
the old man voted to leave when he was
another thing too,
the deciding vote.
The old man actually played. The front man did not play red light, green light.
Well, is he not in red light, green light?
No, he's sitting there drinking a scotch. Remember?
Oh, you're right.
So they inserted him into the game.
Games.
I don't know if this means he's not going to play.
Interesting.
But I think
didn't
now
even think about that.
Yeah, now that the cat's out of the bag that he's there, I think he probably has to play because then they'll be like, wait a minute, what happened to 001, right? And Ilnam was 001.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? But Ilnam definitely played red light, green light.
Yeah. He was the boss. He was the fucking he was the best. It would be crazy to me if the front man played red light, green light after they showed him like starting up his jazz diorama. Yeah, no. You're
scotch.
absolutely right that he did not play red light, green light. But I just I didn't even think about it.
Yeah. So, and that's how the episode ends. Great cliffhanger kind of. He stares down Gihan for a while too. Once they reveal him, he's staring right at Gihan. Because I think he kind of sees Gihan as his nemesis here, and rightfully so.
I'm so excited to get into the front man's mind and see why he believes so strongly in this. Yeah.
I think we're going to learn a lot about him. And yeah, I'm excited to get it. I mean, I literally watched the third episode before work today, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck, I want to watch the fourth one," but
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I should not, for the sake of this
Yeah.
podcast.
This is this feels like we're really getting started on the big season.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, we're almost halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be over halfway through with the next episode. So it's definitely a like season 2 and 3,
Yeah.
looking together.
Well, I read earlier season 3 is coming out in the summer.
Yeah, I saw summer or fall. So I mean, less
So
than
it's
a
not
year.
it's not going to be that long in between
No.
like it was between 1 and 2, which was like
well,
a
they
fucking
already shot it.
eternity. Yeah.
So
So
I mean, I'm excited.
honestly, BoJack did a similar thing with its last season where it did the
Yeah.
8 episodes and then there was a break and then 8 more episodes. And that was pretty common around that time. AMC did it like with every fucking show they had.
Yeah.
And so this seems like a similar deal here.
Yeah. I'm into it.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch more. I thought that was a great episode. You're right that it could have ended up kind of being same old with red light, green light because we've seen it so many times now. Yep. I think they're probably gonna do different games now. I don't think it's gonna be like
I agree.
Now cut the cookie out and now do the tug of war, right?
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what they do. And I think it's gonna be a blast. And this is why I love this show because it's like it's just very intriguing and gory and. You see good people triumph and you see bad people go down and you also see good people go down and bad people triumph and it's just a really interesting show about our lives as far as like allegories
absolutely.
for politics and media and wealth or
walking
lack
in
of
rooms
wealth.
with lots of stairs.
Yeah, that's something I do a lot, actually, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I'm excited, man. Anything else you want to say about the episode?
I just loved it. I like to imagine that the Fly Me to the Moon remix was also being blasted into the Red Light, Green Light arena. while they were running.
Well, because Fly Me to the Moon is what they played in the original.
Yeah.
But the original version of it, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about this in episode 1, but they do this really, they do some needle drops in this show.
Yep.
And it's typically classical music.
Yeah.
Right? Or like older, like jazzier stuff. But I really liked the needle drop in episode 1 of the, when they were playing when Gihan and the Handsome Man were playing Russian roulette.
Okay.
I don't even remember the name of the song at this point.
Yeah. No, I really liked it as well. I know what you're talking about.
And then I really liked this. This is the Fly Me to the Moon thing, which it's like paralleling to the first season, but it's also like, again, I think it fits in with like this kind of like the contestants of the game and who they are and what generation they are, right?
Yep.
Oh, that it's a trap remix of Fly Me to the Moon. I think it's brilliant.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sean, where can people find you?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Sean_AFK. You guys can also find me on this podcast, and in other podcasts on this channel, like What Is This, a Crossover episode, a BoJack Horseman podcast.
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at SpikeGhetti Bros, on Twitch at twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros, and our YouTube channels and all that stuff. And you can email us about Squid Game at squidboysspq@gmail.com. And just like our good friends did earlier today. And we look forward to reading your emails. And that wasn't the same episode that they emailed us. I just realized I'm in a time loop.
Yeah, we are in the room of endless stairs.
Oh, boy. Anyway, Sean, I agree to end this episode.
I agree.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, Squid Game season 2, it's out. Haha. You guys think maybe we should recreate this season 2?
Okay, you just unlocked a tangent from me.
Okay.
So this motherfucker, Mr. Beast, one of the most popular people in the world, right?
Yeah.
Has millions of subscribers on his YouTube channel. You know, people like him, don't like him, whatever. He's popular, okay?
Yeah.
Netflix has been leading up to Squid Game season 2, posting, hey, 2 days till Squid Game season 2, and there'll be like a clip from the show, right? Every fucking time they did this, motherfucker commented, oh, it's also 2 days from Beast Games episode 3 because they came out on the same day. My guy, this is like very like...
He's very desperate.
Very desperate, very slimy, very cringe. Every negative thing you could say about it.
Yeah.
You have the money to promote this thing, but with, by the way, one of the biggest companies in the world in Amazon, and you are like grassroots commenting on this other show's thing, which you stole the idea, by the way.
You did like the exact thing that the show was critiquing.
He's stolen the idea twice because he did like the recreation, like you said, and then this is the same thing but like different. And it's like, brother, I need you to gain some sort of semblance of like anything, any kind of brain, dude. I see these pictures of this guy and I just see his dead fucking stare, like soulless. His smile isn't real. Like, nothing about him is real at this point. He's a cyborg. He's Mark Zuckerberg. I can't handle Mr. Beast anymore. I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to talk about him anymore after this tangent. Please, Mr. Beast, go away.
I do just want to say that, like, none of the things said by Mike just now are reflective of Amazon as a company. We have problems with Mr. Beast. Amazon, please don't assassinate us. We think you guys are very cool.
Wait, why would Amazon assassinate us?
I don't know. We were skirting a line there. We were skirting a line.
It's more likely that, like, you know, the CEO of Amazon would get assassinated than we would get assassinated. Yeah. Hey, I want you to know that you started this whole assassinate CEOs thing on this podcast. I want you to know that.
Are you saying?
I'm saying maybe you inspired somebody, Sean. I don't know. That maybe his name rhymes with Buigi. Maybe you inspired somebody, okay? He didn't take out the Netflix CEO like you wanted, but he took out one, okay?
You think I inspired Luigi Mangione? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not saying Luigi specifically, but maybe you just started something, okay?